You know, football hasn't honestly been great lately. Football as a Bayern fan lately has felt more like a chore. It has felt more like something that instead of looking forward to, you're just hoping, you're just wishing that at least you're going to get something out of it. That you're just wishing that at least something is going to be interesting. That it's going to be at least a win. Because at least if it's a win, you could be positive for a few hours, ignoring the result, ignoring the performance. But that is not the way it has been lately. Lately, it has honestly been awful. It has been terrible, and quite frankly, we have been absolutely abysmal. We have been so bad that at this point I honestly feel like the season is already a mess, because I don't think we can actually get ourselves out of this hole. We have no structure, no game plan, we have nothing to do, we have no way to play. We are just putting 11 players on the field, not having anything, not having any sort of strategy, not having any sort of tactical plan. We just say, oh yeah, let's do it, let's just try it. 11 players, we've got better players, so maybe we should win. It's absolutely ridiculous what is happening right now at the club. It's absolutely ridiculous what Ancelotti has done, and quite frankly, it's been absolutely ridiculous. I mean, think about it, you know, last season, a lot of people, including myself, last season, we were positive because quite simply it was the first season. He's got a year to adjust. He's got a year to really get used to the team, to really, you know, play with the team, to really mess around with the team, to really, you know, make his own team. That has not been the case. He has not made his own team. He has not done anything so far. The only player that I can think of that has actually improved under Ancelotti has been Thiago. And Thiago, that's probably because he has actually been injury free. Under Pep Guardiola, he's had a lot of injuries. This was the first time that he's actually been injury free, and it showed that, you know what, he can play football. He was great at football. Maybe it was because Thiago excelled above every other player. Maybe it's because all the other players just weren't good, and I think it's the latter at this point. It was quite clear last season that honestly we were relying on Thiago. This season it's the same. Where, you know, today when he didn't play, we saw how bad we were. There was not a single player that really played well. Everyone played awful. Without Thiago in the team, we have been abysmal. Without Thiago in the team, this team has essentially not functioned, and it's just so awful to see. I mean, when you're 2-2 or when you're 2-1 down and you're struggling, and the other team is starting to slowly come into the game, and you don't make substitutions, you're bound to concede a goal. It's bound to happen, and it's just the way it is right now at Bayern, that that the coach doesn't care. And I don't know why he's been able to escape all these critics, because quite frankly, we were in a development phase. We were in a development phase, and we got a coach that is known for not really developing anything. He's known to be a coach that, you know, gets the best results out of the players in their prime. That's not what we have right now. Right now we have an aging squad, and we need to bring in young blood, and that's what we started to do. We brought in young blood. We've gotten players like Tolisso. We've gotten players like Rudy. You know, with Coman, Gnabry, Kimmich, all these young players, Sula. We've gotten all these young players, all these young names, all these young players that, you know, are hoping to get game time, are hoping to be improved upon, are hoping to progress, and that is not the case. Right now, we've just been a shell of our former self, and we've just absolutely looked abysmal. And it's just a case of, is Ancelotti really the right coach for this moment? Is Ancelotti really the right coach to get us forward? You know, I'm not saying this just, you know, because of one bad result, because it's not just one bad result. It's just been bad performances, and it's the result wise, it doesn't really matter. It's the performances that really matter, and that is key. You know, if we had won today but played the way we did, I would have been furious nonetheless, because we have not had really good performances besides maybe last week against Schalke. That was perhaps a one good performance of the season, and if you have 6-7 games into the season, you only have one good performance. I mean, you may say it's early in the season, but then again, we've had a full pre-season where we were abysmal in. The season has started, we are abysmal, and it's just a case of we're worse and worse. You're getting worse and worse. Last season you could say, okay, he's new. Last season you could give him an excuse, you know, getting used to the players, getting used to the league, getting used to the system and everything. And for a man that said, oh, I don't want to coach in the Bundesliga, it's so boring in the Bundesliga, you could walk the title with Bayern Munich. Why would anyone want to coach at Bayern Munich? And then 2 months later he signs at Bayern Munich. Well, for someone that has claimed that it's such an easy walk in the park, he's absolutely failed. I mean, he's won the Bundesliga last season, but besides that, was it really his win, or was it more the team's win? I'm willing to bet 100% that it was the team's win and not his win, because he has been abysmal. And honestly, when you think about it, yeah, he's not really been excellent, but he's not really been terrible. But we've just been boring. We've just been boring, and we've just had no creativity, which just proves that he hasn't really got a plan. He's just putting the names on the field and letting the players do for him. I mean, it's quite clear that that is the case when the players come out and say we had no tactical plan today, or our tactics weren't right, or we didn't really have a defensive structure, we didn't really have an offensive structure, we didn't have no structure at all. I mean, if players come out, when have you ever heard players come out and say, oh, the tactics, we had no tactics, or oh, we had no defensive plan, we had no offensive plan, we had no plan in midfield? When have you ever heard players really come out and say that? When you have players that, besides the tactics, when you have players just come out and say, I don't know why I'm not playing, I don't know why, what I can do for him to start me. When you have players like that, players that don't normally complain, such as Thomas Müller, when you have players like him come out and say that, then you have to really question the manager, and you really have to question everything surrounding the club. And right now, it just seems like we're relying on experience instead of innovation. Honestly, the way it is going, experience is obviously failing. The way it is going right now, it is obviously a case that experience is failing, because look how we've been playing for 2 years now, last year and this year, and I just can't see us getting better. I just can't see us getting better, and the way, if this continues, then we're not going to get better, and it's going to get worse from here. It's going to get worse for him, because starting now, well, it's already started in all fairness, but he's slowly starting to lose the dressing room. You can always see that with certain players that, not everyone is playing. I mean, if you think about it, which player, honestly, is actually playing for Carlo Ancelotti, besides maybe James? James is perhaps the only player that is really playing for the coach. Not for himself, but for the coach. And it's just a worry when you think about it, because under other coaches, you could always see there were always more players that were playing for the coach. No matter how bad it got, they were always playing for the coach. The coach never lost the dressing room. In this case, it is a case that the coach has actually lost the dressing room. And if, like I said, if this continues, then, if nobody's playing for the coach, and nobody of the players actually enjoys playing for the coach, or nobody, actually respects the coach, then what's the point of having a coach that isn't being respected? The whole point of him is that he guides the team, that he makes a game plan that the players follow. And if nobody likes him, if nobody can respect him, then obviously nobody's going to follow what he said. So it's just a case of this. It's absolutely been ridiculous. It's absolutely been ridiculous. And what annoys me the most is Carlo Ancelotti's, the way he handles it. I mean, yes, he has been criticised harshly? Yes, of course, but it's because we've not been good, and for a big club such as Bayern, you always expect us to be good. You always expect us to perform. You always expect us to do well. So especially with the kind of squad we have. I mean, the amount of money we've actually put into the squad this summer is a lot. The amount of money we put into the squad every single year, we always look at areas that we can improve on, and we always try and improve upon those areas. So is our squad perfect? No. But is our squad much better than we've seen in the last few weeks and since the start of the season? Absolutely. And it's just abysmal. It's just, honestly, it is just absolutely abysmal. It's just absolutely ridiculous that he's gotten away. I mean, the most annoying thing he has said so far is, I'll invite all my critics to a feast. I'll invite all my critics, for food at the end of the season. I'll thank them all that, they were criticizing me and whatnot. I'll listen to what they said, all being sarcastic and everything. And you know what? That is just the most ridiculous thing that he has said so far. That is just the most ridiculous thing that he has said so far at his tenure at Bayern. I mean, that's almost saying like, oh, I don't care about the critics. Well, you should care about the critics, because if they're criticizing you, then there's obviously a reason to criticize you. And if he hasn't realized what the reason is, then honestly, he's not the right person. He's obviously not a right person if he can't handle that he's being criticized, and that he deserves to be criticized at this point. I mean, last season we had the whole issue of him not substituting a single player. This season, yeah, he's actually substituting, so congratulations for that. But what's the point of substituting him in an 85th minute? What good are they going to do for the last 5 minutes when we're trying to get a goal? What can you do in 5 minutes plus extra time? That's useless. That's just absolutely useless. I mean, at this point, honestly, it just seems like Carlo Ancelotti, he doesn't even care anymore. It just seems like he does not even care. He's just there, puts 11 players on the pitch, and calls it a day. And honestly, if that's all it takes to become a coach, then everyone should be a coach. That should be the dream job of everyone. Just stand there, do nothing, wear a suit, and then go out and put 11 players on the pitch, put 11 players on a team sheet, and just do nothing. I mean, he's literally sucked all the joy out of football right now. Sucked all the joy out of football. How can you do that? A sport that is so entertaining, a sport that is so fascinating to watch, a sport that so many people look up to, and a sport that so many people enjoy. He has just sucked the fun out of it. I mean, most of you guys, I mean, most of you guys are probably like me. You just watch the games at this point just because it's Bayern. You know, you watch it because you support Bayern. But the thing is, I support Bayern. I don't support Ancelotti. I don't support the players. I don't support the coach. I support Bayern, and that's the issue. If a player wants to be bigger than a club, then the player needs to go. If the management wants to be bigger than a club, then the management needs to go. If a player isn't pulling his weight, then the player needs to go. If the management isn't pulling their weight, then the management needs to go. And in this case, the management is not pulling their weight, and specifically Carlo Ancelotti is not pulling his weight, so he needs to go.